Yes, I am recording the session actually. And thank you for bringing it to my notice. I should inform all the participants also that I am recording that. It actually starts automatically. I'd forgotten all about it. So that's a good idea. We should be sharing this with some of them who are unable to join. So what I'll do is start reading some of the important segments and then request you all to join in with your questions or thoughts on the subject. So first and foremost, I thought we should revisit and understand very, very clearly the importance of Bhagavad Gita in today's time. And I'm going to just read some of the segments from here so that that is reinstated at this point. So sublime message of Bhagavad Gita is timeless and is applicable in every facet of life. Within the Bhagavad Gita are the answers to the mysteries of existence, our real purpose in this world, how we should act and why we suffer or are oftentimes helpless in our struggle for survival. Are these not the most important questions that we have? The rest of the issues that we deal with in our lives are actually quite petty when you think of in comparison to these big questions of life. In another place, in the introduction segment, the author says, for an observant person, it is clear that the world around us is a bewildering place with many unsolved mysteries. If one is seeking answers to the age-old questions of who am I? Why do we suffer? Where do we come from? What is the purpose of life? What happens after death? Then one will find great satisfaction in the Bhagavad Gita, because the Gita answers these questions and more with the utmost clarity. So friends, I hope as we go forward in our journey reading this awesome scripture, we will find the answers to some of these very important questions that I'm sure we all have come across within ourselves now and then, at least every now and then. The other segment that I thought was very interesting to probably revisit today was to find that the real purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to have self-realization. And then when we say this, we need to really understand what do we mean by self-realization. And I like what the publisher has said at this point. Self-realization means to realize our actual purpose in life and act towards it, gradually freeing us from the yoke of material bondage. Many times, I hear people say, let's get self-realized, basically meaning you are God, I am God, we are one, or stuff like that. Yes, that's all true and a part of the story, but why should we even get there? Why do I need to know, the oneness and the differences that I have with my Creator? Why should I know? What is the purpose of knowing who am I? The real thing is to really know who am I with the need or desire of understanding what is the purpose of mine in this life. So that while we are living with so much of attachment towards our life, we can actually live in a way that is in synchronization with our true purpose of life. Right? And then I just want to, kind of revisit this and remind all of us that Bhagavad Gita is actually not just the most widely read book of theistic science in the world today, but probably also the oldest. I mean, there is already a confirmation that it's at least over 5,000-year-old scripture. Also known as Gita-Upanishad because it's a part of Upanishad. Bhagavad Gita has been the principal handbook of yoga for more than 5,000 years. the first word of Bhagavad Gita that it addresses is dharma. And, many of us talk about this word dharma, and we keep referring to the word karma very often in our lives, especially when we are discussing matters related to spirituality or self-realization. But while we do that, while we use the word dharma or karma, I find, and I'm sure you will all agree with me, that many times we don't have the right understanding of that word. So I just wanted to revisit the real meaning of the word dharma before we go deeper, about which this whole book is. Let us have a clear understanding of what really that dharma means according to Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes dharma is mistaken to mean religion or a particular belief, but it is not so. Dharma means the quintessential duty or knowledge that elevates our consciousness to a direct connection with the absolute truth. This is also known as Sanatana Dharma, the occupational duty of all living beings. When I first heard, read, and understood this point, I think I was one of the happiest persons, and I really decided, probably this was the first thing that made me decide that I really want to be a proper student of life and the scripture, and I want to really understand what life is and what the scripture has to offer by this person who actually clarified in my head as to what this word dharma meant. And the last part that I wanted to stress upon today from my side was really to understand that Bhagavad Gita can be understood by taking two different paths of self-realization. One we called as the personal, and the other one is referred to as the impersonal path. See, the basic difference between the two, as I have mentioned during some of our live sessions earlier, is in one of the school of thoughts or path, we believe that God is a personality, is a person, and he is at the core of everything. And what we refer to as a Brahman or Paramatma is a feature of that personal aspect of the Supreme Being, who we refer to as Bhagavan. So this, if somebody approaches Srimad Bhagavad Gita and the understanding of the message of Bhagavad Gita, through this, what makes it actually easier and better for us is the fact that once we have this clarity and we know that personality, that supreme personality of Godhead is nobody else other than Sri Krishna, as he himself says in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, then the rest of Bhagavad Gita becomes something that the Supreme Lord himself is telling us. What could be better and more relevant than that? But let's also understand what's the other way of looking at it. And there are many people, including especially the Shankaracharya clan, who believe in that aspect. They believe that when we say Bhagavan is Nirguna, basically the person, the people who go with, what I follow as a path, the more of personalized aspect, we believe Nirguna from the aspect of material nature. He does not have the features or the characteristics that we display as a being in this material world. But the impersonalists believe that that means God does not necessarily have a form or a character, and therefore he is Nirguna, and therefore the Brahman aspect is the highest, which basically means the light, the effulgence, and that is where the whole origin started. That's the creator, and whatever form he takes, whether it is Rama or Krishna or any other form, that is a form he takes as an avatar, but that's not really him. Whereas the school of personalized beings, they feel that no, the person comes first, his effulgence is the Brahman, and then his personalized aspect, which is present in each one of us, is the Paramatma, who is sitting besides our Jivatma. So funny part is many times, science still is talking about one soul or one Atma. But frankly, if you go deeper, we understand that we just don't have one, but probably two. One is our own Jivatma, our individual Atma, and there is Paramatma, the part and parcel of the Supreme Being directly within each one of us. So this is it from me, and I am going to admit one more person joining us right now. And then open the session for any questions, comments, or sharing from your side. Welcome. I can see your profile name as Galaxy on 7. May I know who is it? You can just send your name over the chat so that we know who we are talking to. And welcome to the session. We just finished the initial bit when I was just sharing some of the things that was already part of the first part of the reading of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is recorded and shared online already on my channel and through various forms of social media. So now I was just opening up the session for questions and sharing of, I think, our own experiences, which can connect to some of these things that we just revisited. So anybody who wants to do that, most welcome, please. Okay. Is there a problem with all of you hearing me even on this platform? Because I hear from our latest participant that he or she has a problem in hearing me. So Aarti, Dr. Ramanjalelu, can you confirm if you are able to hear me, or is the connection still bad here as well? Okay, great, Aarti. Thanks for mentioning you can. So I'm just trying to communicate with the latest participant and see if I can resolve that problem. Okay, I think the latest participant has a problem with the connection and has also dropped out now. So anyway, we'll deal with that as and when he or she comes back. So in the meantime, Aarti or Dr. Ramanjanelu, do you want to share anything? Then I would request you to please unmute yourself. Even if you're comfortable, put on your cameras and you can share whatever you wish to.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Aarti.
Am I audible?
Okay, now you are. Yeah, I couldn't hear you earlier. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I had a couple of questions. So we are talking about who is the person who you are, right? I mean, who is the person? Is it the body? Is it the breath? Is it the mind? So even if you're searching answers in our meditation practices, how do we come to an understanding that we are happy in all aspects?
Okay.
We might be happy with the way we are actually handling our body, the way we are actually treating it with the good source of food or energy or whatsoever. But somewhere down the line you have some amount of confusion in your mind that this is not the real person. I'm still searching answers for myself as to who am I.
Yeah.
So although you're physically fit, you are mentally also good. I mean, you are very, very progressive in your thoughts, and you have a successful life personally, professionally, but still, that thought is lingering in your mind that I'm still not clear. Who am I?
I totally relate to you. I think this is actually a long journey for some of us who probably have not yet found that realization, and it's a journey we will all have to travel. But sometimes what happens is, for many of us who over lifetimes would have traveled this journey already and are on that verge. Manjushri, may I request you to, I'm muting you please, because I can hear some disturbance, but whenever you want to speak, you can please put that on the chat box and we can invite you to speak, please. Okay, sorry Aarti. So coming back to you. So basically what I have found is there are some of us who have gone through lifetimes, or it's the grace of, the Supreme Lord, our creator, when in a fraction of a second that realization or that clarity comes in our mind as to who we are. Otherwise it's a journey and it happens pretty slow in, if I may say, in fractions. There are some points in time when you suddenly have this clarity and suddenly have that feeling with which you kind of relate to your real self, but in the other times it's pretty blurred for, I think, all of us. So frankly, as you said, definitely what we can say, and it's easy for us to realize, is anything that we can put our, how do I say, which we can sense with our senses, which are given to us through this body, is not really us. Our body, we say, this is my body, this is my name, this is my mind, which is acting like this, this is my heart, this is whatever it is, right? We all know, even while we are speaking, that this is mine, but this is not me. The real me, the soul, when we have to connect to our soul and stay connected, frankly, it's not easy. And that's what is being called as, getting to that aspect of consciousness and staying conscious in that state all the time. If we are able to do that, then we will be in the Paramahamsa mode, the enlightened one. But we all have to travel the journey, and it is possible to do that. But in brief, I would like to say few things. One, let's understand where do we come from and why are we here and what's our purpose. That will give a lot of clarity in your understanding as to who you are. Number one, we all were created by the Creator almost at the same time, which is timeless. We can't point our finger as to when it was. But the moment we were created, we were on a plane as a Jiva Atma, as we are referred to, this Jiva soul, in the border area from where we had a choice to either go to the spiritual realm or come to the material world. The only reason we have come to the material world is because of our nature, which is again innate to us, being part and parcel of the Supreme, to lord over things, to be the enjoyer. However, while we have some similarities in our nature, like a child has similarity with a father, but a child is still a child and the father is a father. The child cannot think, just because I have certain similarity in my nature, from tomorrow I can start behaving like a father. You're not the father. You still are the child with some part of your nature or characteristic that is similar to your father and comes from your father, but you are not the father. So what happens is some of us have had this desire to enjoy ourselves, and we came to this material world with that desire. But the fact of the matter is, this is not the place for any of us to be in our natural state of being. We were not created for this place. We have accepted a body, we have accepted a mind and everything that was required for us to come to this world and live in this world and to experience in this world whatever we have to experience and to contribute in this world, whatever we had to contribute. However, this is just a temporary place and we are not meant to become comfortable and stay here forever. That will never happen. So how much ever we take care of our body, how much ever we take care of our mind, we will not be able to win over Maya, who is nothing but a form of energy of the Supreme Being, and she is acting, she is making sure that this world is only meant to give you some understanding and realizations for you to go back to where you belong. You will never be able to become comfortable here. How much ever, whatever you think, if I have comfort, luxury, I'll be happy, I'll be peaceful, and if I'm healthy, then, I can be here forever and I can be really happy. There is nobody who has been able to achieve that and will not be there who will be able to achieve that. So the sooner we understand that there is no point in attempting for that, that does not mean therefore we don't bother about our body. Our body is a machinery given to us to learn the lessons we are supposed to learn and figure our way out to really go back home where we belong. If we do not use it for that purpose, and we use it for any other reason which is actually directed towards our own selfish interest, that goes against our basic nature in the way we are created, and that will harm us. So if I take care of my body with the intent that it should help me gain self-realization so that I can get back to my natural state of being as the Creator wants me to, and serve that purpose of creation, nothing that we do is going to actually help us. So frankly, this is a long answer, but I hope, Aarti, it makes some sense to you, that this realization that I have been given this prana, this breath, this body, these senses, this intellect, this mind and everything for a purpose. And one of the main purpose, or I would say the ultimate goal of life, is to realize that at the core of it, the Creator has created us for His service. That's it. The day you and me can accept this short statement that we are meant to serve our Creator, and everything else we are attempting to do goes against our basic nature, we are going to have no realizations. We have to accept this. Once you accept this and start doing everything to support you to come back to your that natural state which we are calling as the spiritual state of being, where the only purpose of your life is to really be of service to your Creator, whether you are in this world or elsewhere, and you are surrendering yourself to the control of the Supreme Being. Anyways, He has the control. But when we want to make a choice of our own, He has also given us the free will to make the choice. The day we are able to, on our own, realize this and surrender our lives to Him, then He will direct us in a manner that He pleases. And when we align ourselves to the reason for which we exist, the real purpose of our life, and basically even why we exist, who we are, we will start having that realization more and more of the real us, which is that supreme super soul within each one of us, which has been created by the Creator to serve Him. And by serving Him, we can experience a state of bliss that nothing else can ever provide us. And that bliss is not just the most powerful thing to experience, even when we experience it for a fraction of a second, but that is something that when we are in our natural state, in the natural place, then that is permanent, irrespective of the external forces and its impact on us. So health being good or not, financial condition being good or not, surrounding being good or not, your bliss will continue because that's who you are by nature. So Aarti, it's a tough answer to give, frankly. One has to go through the journey and frankly experience it. And there are many disciplines and techniques which are offered by the Guru for us to follow to achieve this, starting from having the right understanding to practicing certain things that will ultimately bring us to the stage of realization. If you want, I can help you travel that journey and we can separately talk on this. But for now, that's it from me, and I hope it really gave you some answers.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Aarti. So Manjushri, I see you have joined in. Is there any question you have which is related to the first part of the recording? You will need to unmute yourself to speak if you wish to speak. You can even, if you don't have a question, you can share anything that you want to, which might be beneficial for all of us. I am not very sure Manjushri is able to hear me or is wanting to share anything. So at this point, I just want to actually come to the concluding part. We have about 7 minutes to go before this session comes to an end. So actually, I would like to come back to you, Aarti. Okay, sorry, Manjushri, there you are. Please say whatever you want to.
Yeah, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Actually, you are talking about the Maya and the basing all these things. So this is not fully cleared, ma'am. So actually, my network is sometimes down. That's why I am not able to hear all this. So I have to re-listen that things, and I will ask you the questions because the Maya things is not clear about. What is Maya, and these things are not fully cleared.
Absolutely. That's a good question, Manjushri, and I can totally understand the issue with our internet and stuff. So I'm recording this session. I will be uploading this. So I will share it also with all of you so that you can, at your own leisure, also listen again and ask any questions which we can again address in the next session. And I am making note of this question of yours on Maya. And that's not a simple answer again. So I would like to prepare myself and address this question, Manjushri, in the next session. So I would request you to please join in and allow me to answer this properly in the next session. In the meantime, before we conclude the session, may I also request Dr. Ramanjanelu, if you have any question or thoughts that we can discuss more in the next session, you can share here or you can share it in the WhatsApp group, and we can definitely address that in the next session. Aarti, it was a wonderful question and a mind-boggling one at that. The whole journey of reading this Srimad Bhagavad Gita and the whole spiritual journey that we are all together kind of taking is to really find the answer for these kind of questions. I mean, for one being who am I and how do I experience that? So let's travel the journey together. And I'm sure whatever I could think of, what helped me, I have shared. But I would continue to share more in the coming sessions. And welcome you also next session to please share what has been your specific experience, like what are the some of the techniques you have been following by way of meditation, and how has it helped you, and what is it that you're still waiting for to happen? What are your expectations? It would be good to hear next time. So we have 4 more minutes to go, friends. So what I would do is I will conclude this session and request all of you to continue posting your questions in the WhatsApp group, which I can take up for the next session. And before the next session, please go through the second part of the recording as well. So you can ask any question that is related to the first or the second part in the session next week. So next week it will be again 21st, and we will have the call at the same time. And any ideas or suggestions which can make this session even more wonderful for all of us, most welcome. And if anybody wants to have a one-on-one more detailed discussion, I would also welcome that. You can reach out to me separately on WhatsApp, and we can schedule time for doing that as well. So if nobody has anything else to add at this point, I would like to conclude the session. I'll just wait for a minute or so. If anybody has anything, please do share it. You can unmute yourself and you can speak, or you can put your thoughts on the chat section. So one quick feedback I want to take from all of you. Do you find this Zoom call better than the YouTube live sessions? Is it clearer and better? Then I would continue this. Otherwise, we'll go back to the YouTube live and try to see how we can get that better.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Manjushri?
Zoom is better than YouTube session. Ma'am, Zoom is better than YouTube session.
Okay,
And
all
hear
right.
you clearly. And,
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you,
more
Manjushri.
interesting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's it, friends. I think Aarti has dropped out, and now we are only few of us. So I'll conclude the session now. Thank you so much for joining, and very sorry for all the connection issues we are having. We are slowly trying to sort out what's the best platform. So next time we will connect over Zoom, and I'll share the Zoom link. Any thoughts in the meantime, please share on the WhatsApp group, and we'll take it up in the next session for sure. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, ma'am. Thank you. Stay safe, ma'am.
Thank you. Same to you, dear.
Yeah. Bye, ma'am.
Bye. Dr. Ramanjanelu, thank you so much. I'll see you again next week. Hare Krishna.